Joining us now, our second head coach of the show, Brandon Gilliam, in charge of BYU Men's Soccer. Coach, nice to have you back in Studio B.
Oh, Brandon.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
You've got some new digs of sorts out at South Field. New natural playing surface. What's the number one benefit of having that renovation at your disposal now?
Oh, we've gotten 2 games on it now, and we just finished practice this morning on it. It's fantastic. They went through, they redid all the drainage, so if there's any rainy days, we'll have a nice cleaner field, drains a lot smoother. The surface, they can keep it a little bit shorter grass, and it runs a lot smoother as well. And it's just perfect right now, so it's a blast.
Did they level it a little more?
So it had like a 3% grade going towards the stands. Now it's at a 1%. So it's still there, but it's not as noticeable, and so it's a lot easier to play with.
I thought it was a nice surface and a nice setup already, but there was a need to do this. I was kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, I mean, for soccer players, everything's on the ground, right? And so you want the field as nice as you possibly can make it. And so the previous field was fantastic, but it was having trouble with recovering with games and not coming back as quick, and it was just time to get a new one.
How much does that impact the actual pace of play and your players' ability to perform at the highest level?
It actually impacts it quite a bit. You'd be surprised. I mean, we've had some games on the road where the grass is a little bit thicker, a little bit longer, and it slows it down a lot. Especially on your offensive attack when you play a through ball or a ball over the top. The thicker the grass, the faster it holds up, and so it's not realistic. When you play, you could play a poor ball and it's still not going to go out of bounds because the grass holds it up, right? And so when you have a proper surface, the skill level has to increase, but the pace of the game also increases as well.
For those not familiar with BYU Men's Soccer, you're like a single A or double A baseball team of sorts in U.S. Soccer in the Premier Development League.
Yep.
Playing the Mountain Division. Let's see, you're 4-2-2, 10 points so far this season. How's the year going, and what's the squad like in 2017?
The year's going well. We've done really well, 4-2-2 with those 2 losses, both potentially being wins. We just didn't figure it out during those games, but and so the squad's doing well. We've had some hiccups with injuries, trying to stay fresh, and now we're at the end of the stretch with 6 games left. So now we kind of hit the meat of it all, right? We've started well. Now we got to finish well.
What's the projected record, or how many points do you need to feel comfortable about getting into the playoffs?
Usually, I mean, kind of throwing out an average, you got to hit over 24.
That's 24 points.
24.
Okay.
Right? And so you're looking at 10 right now, so we got 6 games left, so that's a potential of 18 points on the line, right? So we need to take most all of them.
They need some good coaching down the stretch. I think that's what they need, right? This is year 2 for you. Forever, Chris Watkins was the coach.
Right.
I helped call the games back in the day when you played. And Chris was the coach, and you were an assistant. Now it's your program. What's it like in year 2? As we talk about Kalani Sitake as year 2. You know, what's year 2 like for you?
You know, you think it gets easier, and it doesn't at all. Just you find new challenges, right? You come in as an assistant coach, you always do whatever the head coach's ideas are, and you support them in that, but you always in the back of your head think, well, what would I do if I was in that position? How would I adjust things? And so year 1, I adjusted some things, and some of them worked really well, and some of them didn't. And so year 2, here we are again. I adjusted some things, and some are working really well. And then, you know, each year you have to evaluate how you're doing and make adjustments. But the nice thing is those thoughts that you have of how to adjust things, you get to do it. You get to throw it forward.
You should just ask, what would Brock Trejo do? I think that's really the governing principle, right?
We do have his captain's armband on set.
It's
with
still
us
up there,
here.
huh?
So, yeah, Brock Trejo. What's up, Brock?
Love
One of
it.
the greatest players.
Shout out to some
Besides the Gilliam brothers.
one of the small stars in Oregon. Yes. Yeah. Okay, Coach. Moving from year 1 to year 2, do you feel more comfortable in your role? And if so, why do you feel more comfortable?
I think it goes back to the question I just said was you wonder what you'll do, right? And so the first year, it's building trust with the players. I mean, as a head coach, that's more important than anything you do is having them trust you, right? You step in year 1, and no matter what you do, people are still wondering, well, how are you going to do?
Yeah.
Right? And so on year 2, I think you build a lot more trust with the players. They respect you more. They see things that you've come forward with, your ideas, and they see things work, and they say, okay, right? His ideas are working. We'll follow him, and we'll be committed to it. Whereas year 1, they're just kind of like, well, will this work or not? And so like this year, we did something we've never done, which was change our formation to a 3-5-2, and we've never played a back 3. And so at the beginning of the year, the players were very much like, are you sure? But now they love it, and it's fantastic, and we're doing very, very well in that formation.
The World University Games are a cool experience that I think happen every year, every couple of years?
Every 2 years, like the Olympics.
Every 2 years.
Yeah.
And you and some BYU players are involved in this. Tell us about
It's true,
that.
yeah. So the World University Games are held this year in Taiwan, and men's soccer hasn't sent a team since '97. And the reason being is because the games are for college athletes only. So it's like the Olympics, but you have to be a college. You have to be a degree-seeking student, right? And so most of the time it's end of July, beginning of August, somewhere in there, and all college teams are kicking off under NCAA seasons 1st of August. So they haven't sent a team since '97. So our situation is we finish up in middle of July, end of July, and the games kick off August 14th. And so myself has been invited to be the head coach. And so the best players available are my players, right? Most all of the college players are kicking off. And so a lot of us get to have that opportunity to go out and represent as USA and represent our country, which is awesome.
That's pretty cool. You're going to be the Team USA head coach at a university, the World University Games.
Yeah.
That's legit, man.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, very cool. We enjoyed watching Tyler Haas a few years ago in that.
Right.
Shaq Walker ran in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I think Jeff Judkins went to this as a player out of at Utah, and he roomed with Larry Bird at the World University.
Yeah, pretty cool
Games.
stuff.
Yeah.
Brandon Gilliam, the head coach of BYU Men's Soccer, with us, and also the coach of Team USA at the World University Games. BYU against Colorado Rapids U23 team on Friday and Saturday. You've called it a huge weekend. Both games will be streamed live on YouTube. Why do you feel like this is a quote-unquote huge weekend?
Right. So I said we got 6 games left. We just had a week off. Usually right in the middle of the season, we try to take a week off. It's a long season for us. We start in January with trainings. And so we try to take that week off. So we're now back at it, right? And 6 games left, and we need as many points out of that as we can. And so this is kind of the start of the end of it. And also this is kind of one of our bigger weekends with Stadium Fire going on. Saturday night, we always turn out our lights after the game so you can watch the fireworks from our field. And so it's just a big weekend for us to make sure we pull off the wins that we need, also to get good crowds out, have some fun, and make sure the players are excited for the rest of the season.
All right, Brandon, great stuff, my friend. Good luck in the
Thank
World
you.
University Games. And
Thank you.
first and foremost, against the Colorado Rapids under-23 team on Friday and Saturday. Again, those games streamed live on YouTube. If you can't get out to Southfield to watch that and see the Cougars on that new playing surface, there are other options for you. Coach, let's give you some BYU Sports Nation karma as well.
Okay, first I got tickets for you guys, right?
nice.
So each time we
yeah.
come out, we got to bring something, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
So those are tickets. We got 4 home games left.
Nice.
You guys come out, make sure you're there.
Thank
I'd
you.
love to have you.
Appreciate it.
Fantastic
Men's
stuff.
soccer.
All right,
I've been-
BYU Men's Soccer.
I've been involved with these guys since '06. It's great. Come hang out.
You've been giving
I
them
said it right after
You've
I
been
get
giving them
something.
the karma
Yeah.
since 2006,
Yeah.
right, Jaron?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the 06, 07 teams, those are 2 of the best ever.
Yeah.
Those were good teams.
Great stuff. Brandon, thanks so much. Good luck
Thank
this
you.
weekend.
Appreciate it.